welcome back to the Binge Society podcast, the podcast where nothing is in moderation. And as always, my name is Winston Brewington.
My name is Danny. Don't be a cunt, Bronner.
My name is the Amazing Afalabi.
Yeah.
All right. That has always been your name. It has never changed. What's going on, guys?
Never changed.
Very excited to be here. Very excited to
What's
have
up?
you here with us, guys. Wherever you are in time and space, we always thank you for putting the sounds of Binge Society into your face. And oh my good gravy, do we have an episode that is going to blow the brains out of your goddamn skull? Because for the very first time, Binge Society is reviewing the same show again, only for a new season. Yes, we are reviewing The Boys Season 2, full spoilers ahead. So if you have not watched, make sure you do so. And if you haven't watched The Boys at all, do yourself a favor, watch that show. Then go back and listen to our first review of The Boys Season 1. Then you can watch Season 2 and then listen to this review. Oh my good gravy. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a Fresca, a baby's bottle of breast milk, and
Grab yourself some breast milk, man. You know what I'm saying?
grab yourself some breast milk.
Hit up your old lady. Be like, yo, old lady.
Squeeze them out for me.
Let me
Some
get some of that.
freshly
Let me get
squeezed-
some of that Cambodian. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that homegrown, baby.
That's real
And in any
Cambodian,
case,
yo.
If you are a cunt, don't be a cunt. There's no place for that here, as per the rules of Billy the Butcher. So, without further ado, we have no time for IRL news. We have no time for Beyond the Binge. We are just diving into the season 2. There's so much to talk about. So, Winston, if you would so please take us to the binge of the week. I just felt like James Brown there. Take us to the binge.
Take it to the binge.
All right, guys, here we go. It is time for our
Binge of the week.
binge of the week, which is The Boys on Amazon Prime Video. This is Amazon's biggest show right now. Eric Kripke is the showrunner. And yeah, let's get down to brass tacks. It's time to get into business. Let's start with Danny first. Danny, what were your reactions and your likes of season 2 of The Boys?
So, just so I say it one more again, so there's no excuses for you. If you are still here and you haven't watched the show,
One more game.
and some shit gets spoiled for you, that's on you, bruh. You've been warned. Full spoilers ahead. Anywho, let's get straight into this. So yes, my likes for the show. Let's start by saying I really still fucking love this show. It is the best show on TV, period. Or like two more periods. I'll say like maybe The Mandalorian got a shout there. But for my money, which I pay Jeff Bezos, it is a very, very good show. And what it does so well, and what it did so well, is something that it recaptured. It recaptured the essence of its sort of antics, the mysteries unfolding, the boys and Billy Butcher and all these characters, Frenchie, Mother's Milk, and even Starlight getting in the mix, Kimiko as well, going on their quest to take down Vought. The way that this show satirizes corporate greed through Vought is still in full effect. We still got that signature violence and gore. We've still got that cutting wit. We've still got a lot of the word cunt and diabolical in British accents. It's all so fucking good. I love this show so goddamn much. And not resting on its laurels, this show had a lot more to do this time around. You know, like whereas in season 1, and we'll talk about our comparisons, whereas in season 1, the novelty of it all was able to sort of like carry it. I feel like it couldn't rest on that in this season. So it went a lot deeper, and it went in a lot of different places, a lot of different narratives happening simultaneously and tying it together so well at the end, or at least I thought anyway. The show was sort of bordering on being extremely bloated with all that it tried to achieve, but at no point did I actually feel like I was overwhelmed or this didn't make any sense. Sometimes, you know, more threads are more important than others, but it didn't feel like anything was completely useless or filler to me. So those are my overall likes for this show.
All right. Thank you, Danny. That was well said. Let's move on to my man, Yemi Tron. Yemi Tron, how did you feel about The Boys season two?
It was good. It was all right. It didn't blow me away. I'm being honest. Like it was good. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed watching it, and I like the. I'm not gonna say shoehorning, but I do appreciate the narrative they're painting as far as superheroes being bigoted and you know, I guess racist, xenophobic, um, anti-Semitic. I do appreciate that, but I like Butcher's development. I like Homelander's development and a little bit more about his insights as far as the main characters. I do like not Starlight. I hate Starlight. What's her name? Stormfront. She was dope.
Homefront. Yeah, we're gonna
She's
talk
a
about her a
funny
little later on.
actress, and she for me she stole each scene as far as just her kind of cheeky her cheekiness and just her being super updated as far as if there was a superhero, I feel like she would be that archetype of a superhero now. Knowing the social media, being media trained, and just being super tech savvy, I really enjoyed the introduction of her character, not her character, and yeah, it was dope. It was cool. It definitely felt like a filler season to me, in my opinion, but it was dope. It was cool.
Okay, okay, very good points there. I enjoyed this season. I would say maybe I like it a little better than season one, but
Ooh.
yeah,
You liked it more
it's
than season one?
well, certain parts. I think storyline wise, I like the aspect of bringing in Stormfront and like her past and those type of things. I thought that was really interesting. They kept a lot of the things that I did like from season one. It was great to see more Black Noir. I wanted to see more Black Noir because in season one he was sort of just like this mysterious dude. I mean, he did
Also,
like
we don't know his power still.
right. That's true.
We're
We
getting
know
some
that he's
idea of it anyway.
yeah, we know that he's allergic to chocolate or something. We know that.
Peanut
Tree
allergy.
nuts. Tree nuts. Yeah, yeah,
He's got,
yeah.
oh, that's right.
No
Tree
musical
nuts.
numbers from Black Noir though. Just
Yeah,
as a
tree nut
little bit sad.
allergy. But yeah, it's a good show. Is it the best show out right now? In my opinion, I don't know. I still think there's some other really good shows out there that aren't getting the praise it deserves. The I May Destroy Yous, the Better Call Sauls. The Mandalorian is a good show as well. Yeah, I like the Mandalorian. Secession, great show. These shows are all very different, mind you. They're
Yeah.
very different than this show, but it is a good show. It's enjoyable. You can dive in and sort of lose yourself in the world for a bit. So from there, do you guys have any favorite moments that you like from season two that stand out to you?
Yeah, these are kind of the moments that we're not going to really have a chance to talk about later on. I will get into the deep and collective arc. But one of my favorite moments was in episode 3, where the deep gets a chance to redeem himself and he comes back and he's doing something for the Seven, even though he doesn't quite get there. But it's when the boys are on the boat and they've got Kimiko's brother down in the whatever steerage or whatever the fuck it's called, and he comes through with the sharks and the sharks are attacking the boat. It's a really dope action sequence and it makes the deep actually seem cool, if only for a moment. But this guy just cannot help shitting the bed, and it is so enjoyable to watch him shit the bed over and over again. So this moment where he comes riding on the whale, goes on the shore, and stands up all heroically and brave, only to have that whale get fucking impaled by the speedboat, was hilarious and diabolical, as William Charcuterie would put it. So that's definitely one of my favorite moments for sure.
That was really funny. Yemi, do you have any favorite moments that you liked from the season?
Not really. I think one of my favorite moments was when towards the end, everybody was getting their head popped. That was kind of dope. And when Cindy, she reminded me of an X-Men, like very. She was giving motherfuckers the Krillin, She was
Were you
crushing
talking about
people.
the
Escape
the Asylum?
from Soup Asylum. That was probably my favorite moment because it showed different powers, and Cindy definitely reminded me of Gaara from Naruto, where she would just like literally look at you and crush you. For my Naruto heads, you guys know what I mean. When his power coffin, sand coffin, where he would grab you with the sand and just like, and you explode. So that was kind of dope. I wanted introductions of different type of powers, and that gave me that. Like, oh, I wonder what other kind of powers are in this lore.
We
So
got
that
long
was
dick powers there as well. We had fucking I had to look up his name, but Mr. Love Sausage, the prehensile dick dude. Oh my
that's
god,
right.
Yeah, that was kind of
that was
gross.
crazy.
a little bit
That was
gross, but
that was a
pretty
little
fucking
gross.
incredible.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah,
That was a cool
crazy.
moment, and yeah, that was the only moment that stood out. I was like, oh, this is pretty dope. I really like that.
That was
Oh
your
yeah,
only
and this is
dope
gonna
moment? Oh man.
no, and then also when when Stormfront and Homelander was like when they started beating each other.
Oh, and they're fucking. They're fuck scene.
where they're beating and beating. Yeah, they were
Yeah.
B&B. They was beating and bumping.
Knocking super boots.
That was kind of dope. That was a dope sequence, and that was creative the way that I guess love affair rolled out. It was very BDSM.
Yeah, I like that too. I like that
There's
too.
a little
That was
bit of
pretty
lasers
crazy.
in there too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I won't break.
Masochism with
See?
lasers.
Yeah.
Laser my tits.
Yeah, that was intense.
There
was
could have been some
intense.
nudity, but hey, man. Like I
Hey,
said,
the
the
you
show was
gotta-
alright.
So much
Yeah, some
violence, I
side
guess.
cheek.
Yeah, exactly.
Side cheek. What are we in? 5th grade? What are we in?
Oh man.
What's your favorite moment?
I had a hard time picking one, but I guess one that sort of stood out to me was the fight scene in the very last episode between Maeve, Kamiko, aka female, and Starlight versus Stormfront when it was like sort of like an all women entanglement battle going on. I thought that was pretty dope. I was like, all right, like this is
Doesn't that
obviously
seem like a end game spoof or wink nudge too?
Yeah, well, that's funny that you mentioned that actually. And like,
I was
for
like, what are they doing here? Is
yeah,
this
for me, that was like actually, I guess we can segue into this, like some of the cringier moments that we thought. For me, that was kind of a cringy moment. And yeah, you're right, Yemi. There was like earlier, there was that whole them filming the movie, basically like the origin story, the Avengers style movie that they had going on, and they definitely did take the piss out of Endgame, where they had like girls get it done from the movie. And then what was strange to me was that they used that as one of the most crucial end fight scenes in the last episode. And I think they were like still trying to take the piss, but then it still kind of had that cheesy, cringy effect that, we've talked about on the show a lot, that Captain Marvel, like no doubt, that fight scene. And again, like that sort of Endgame girls get it done fight scene. So like that was a little bit cringy for me. And in general, what's so awesome about the show is that, for me anyway, you might disagree, Yemi, based on your review so far, but for me, there are so few moments where you have to say, like, that's dumb, that wouldn't happen, that doesn't make sense, that kind of a thing, or that's very cringe. But that moment was cringe for me. And then another moment that was like, that doesn't really make sense, was in that end fight with Stormfront with the boys there. She's zapping the boys, but like they don't die. And then it's already established in the show earlier in season 3 where we see that heel turn, episode 3, where we see that heel turn, where we find out she's not quite the nice person we thought she was. And she, she's in the project zapping those dudes and like kills them in an instant. So like, why would she not do that with these guys who are humans and also such a threat to her? Why wouldn't she just like blow them up with her fucking lightning? That didn't make so much sense to me.
I think
But what were your dislikes and or cringe moments? I mean, it sounds like you got quite a few, but Winston, you want to take this?
Well, yeah, I wanted to jump in real quick because playing off of what you just said, I think that's going to be one of the potential flaws of this show continuing on, because Huey, all these guys, Butcher, they're regular human beings, they're main characters. So, are they going to die at some point, or are they just going to sort of be like, oh, we're just protected, and like no matter what happens to us, we're going to be fine? I feel like at some point a couple of them have to go. Maybe they bring in new people, I don't know, but I feel like that could be a flaw, especially if the show continues to go on for many, many seasons, which it seems like it will. Are they gonna take out Huey or I don't know, Mother's
question.
Milk or whatever,
Yeah, at the very least, what you don't want to see is too many more instances like this where you're like, all right, fucking plot armor, because that was a big complaint for like your Game of Thrones and any number of shows as well. Like we don't want to see, or especially like The Walking Dead. So yeah, we don't want to see that sort of tendency increase.
Yeah,
But yeah,
absolutely.
dislikes from the show, guys, or
Yeah.
and or cringy moments.
Yeah. What about you, Yemi? You have any cringy moments from this show?
Every scene with Starlight. Every scene with Starlight. She needs
Why
to
do
be
you hate
removed
this
from
woman?
the show. She doesn't do anything. She was a mole, and they knew it from the jump, from season 2, episode 1. They knew she was a mole, and she still survived when Homelander knew she was a mole. I don't get that. Like, it doesn't make any sense. She doesn't help when she needs to be helped. She does Starlight, Starlight, and it's like, why is she here other than to be the love interest of Huey? I don't see it. I really don't see it. And like I was like, all right, like, is there like okay, the mom thing? Okay, she rekindles her love with the mom, and they make amends. Outside of that, I'm like, why are you here? Besides being like, there's that scene where they have. It's just like, dude, she took me out of it. I was like, this is like, I get it. Like, there's a love, and there were so many love stories. Each and every, like, they were. This is where like I lost it. I was like, all right, they're kind of doing too much, or I don't know where the writing's going. But Maeve, Homelander, Butcher, Frenchie, everyone has a love interest, and they're trying to focus on each love interest equally, and that took me out of it. And the main one, which was Huey, was Starlight, and she's one of the 7. And for me, Kamiko, I understand she had a little bit of shell shock when she saw her brother die. That made sense that she couldn't go toe to toe with Stormfront. That made sense from a writing point of view. But also, like, this is like further, I guess, into the future, not too further. She doesn't know how to really use her power. And I'm like, I understand she's the youngest of the 7 and everything like that, but her from season 1, season 2, I didn't see any growth. Another cringe moment was the girl thing. I was like, okay, that was stupid. There was
Oh, wait, before you get into that, can I just push back a little bit on Starlight? I mean, yeah, feel free to not like her arc. That's fine. But I think she did have a lot of crucial moments. Like she got the compound V from that weird gecko dude. That was like, by the way, that was fucking dope. The way they used him, the dude that could chop off his limbs and they would grow back, to sort of really make that first dent against Vought, and that really put a lot of other things in motion. What else did she do? She did some. She didn't kill Huey that time, and I thought she had a lot of growth because she started out sort of being like playing the, like Stormfront said at one point, she was like the vaultiest Vought that ever was Vought, and then you kind of saw her through the help of Stormfront start to give fewer fucks. And I thought she had growth, and like she began to resent civilians a little bit. There was that moment where she ended up killing a civilian, and she took us through her thought process. I thought, you don't have to like it completely, but it was good for me, and I thought she definitely had some crucial moments that really pushed the narrative forward.
Also, Huey. What are they doing with Huey? Like, he hasn't learned anything from season 1. He doesn't have some hair on his balls, some hair on his chest. He's the same bumbling kind of idiot, soft, like a beta male. It's like, dude, all right, get off the screen. Yeah, get Butcher in here because you're not the dad of this group. And I feel like there were many scenes where he could have stepped up or like turned on, like when he killed the invisible guy, whatever his name is, like, where he had those moments like, I gotta step up. And I didn't really see that in season 2. And if he's gonna be the protagonist, even at the end, I don't want to go too far, but it just seemed like it was like, all right, they're focusing more on Butcher. I guess that's why they did that. But for me, I was like, I wanted to see Huey's growth because he's not like the boys. That whole juxtaposition was what got me into season 1. Like, oh, how's this like kind of, and the whole thing with his dad, how's this whole thing like gonna like shape out? You know what I mean? Because his whole dad's like, you don't have it in you. Remember, like that was his growth, like that he's not a man. And there was none of that in season 2.
Well, I think he kind of
no. There was Danny. There was not.
Season.
There was none of that. There was no for a story to have like. It doesn't make sense for him to regress. Why would you watch a story for someone to go backwards? You're watching a story
going backwards. Well, I think they were
no,
kind
he was
of
stagnant.
validating. They were validating who
he was stagnant.
And
I guess in my opinion, opinion, he was stagnant. Like, I get it. Butcher was the focus on it, but just for me, for viewers, like I wanted to see him like shoot something or like explode someone, or like where was that stuff from season one with Frenchie and them figuring stuff out to kill them? It seemed like it was more like socioeconomic, political kind of espionage, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, it was like,
Yeah.
where can he fit in, especially with such a rough and tumble group? Like, what does he offer?
Meh.
And yeah, I'd agree with you that he didn't have much movement character wise. Most of his development was
They had no
like,
development in season 2.
most of his development like was around, you know,
Starlight.
why does he like Billy Joel so much? But also like his role in this was that of the canary. They really explored that role. So it wasn't so much like they were growing him, but they were justifying why he is the way he is, and that's value, and that value to the group, which is to keep people from going over the edge, to keep people from, you know, to keep his group from losing their humanity. And they basically try to, you know, I think that was his role, was to establish how someone that is the way he is fits in this sort of group.
Yeah, and that sort of transitions a little bit into like some of the things that I didn't like. Like, I think one of the reasons why I thought the first few episodes sort of moved a little bit slow is because Butcher wasn't there, and it was still like a mystery, like what happened to him after he was, you know, at Homelander's home and all that different shit.
They
So
kept that for the end of episode 1.
yeah, so things sort of moved a little slow for me, which is why, you know, I just thought that, you know, I don't know, I think maybe that's the reason why they decided to drop 3 episodes at once, because they felt like, all right, it's not strong enough to just release this first one by itself. Let's do these first 3 so that you'll get a little bit more of the action. And I believe the 3rd episode is that when the deep comes into play with the whale, right? That's when things started to sort of pick up a little bit. You're getting a little more action. So I think that was probably their logic in doing this and making 3 episodes at the very beginning. But you know, like, look, a lot of violence. You know, I like violence. You know, I know some people are very sensitive to violence like that, specifically in times like these. You know, a lot of head exploding.
Yeah, there was quite a bit of that. But you know, if you don't like violence, the show ain't for you.
Exactly. It just is what it is. But those are really my only faults, I would say. But let's move on from there.
You mentioned sort of the format of the show, the way it was laid out, and there was a unique approach this season. Last time it was all episodes released at once. This time, like you said, it had the first 3 episodes released, and then they released the episodes weekly thereafter. What did you make of that format? You and I, Winston, we both sort of watched it along with its release. And then Yemi actually watched it after all of the episodes were released. So he kind of binged it. So Winston, what was your take on this different approach this time around?
I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And I understand why they did it now, because I think they wanted those 3 episodes to like be like, all right, now we're going to get into it and things will start turning up. I just feel like this show lends itself to binging. Some shows are better binged and some shows aren't, and are better week to week. And I think this show, you could, like, if you watch this like in a binging mode, you could binge through this really quickly. And I think that's what the show is. And I don't know what they're going to do in the future. I hope that they go back to the old format, but the new format didn't really work that well for me. You know what I mean? I hope that I'm able to binge it next time. But yeah, what did you think about it, Danny?
Yeah, I liked it. I don't know if I necessarily prefer it to the alternative, but what was interesting is kind of like what you mentioned is how the release sort of dictated the pacing. I don't know if they always had this release schedule in mind as they were shooting, directing, and making their choices for what to include in each episode. But certainly that first 3 episode chunk was its own sort of chunk and arc in and of itself. It was kind of like a mini season all to itself, which was really cool. And it was also cool in some respect, a bit frustrating to have to wait from one week to the next episode. So you have your time to discuss with your friends or people you're watching the show with. What do you think is going to happen? If you're, a special kind of brand of nerd and you love this show, maybe you're going back and you're rewatching the episodes before the new ones come out. And also maybe it gives you that time and space to process everything that happened. Sometimes when you binge a show, especially one with as many narrative threads as this has, you can kind of get lost in the sauce. You forget things, or there's just too much information at once, and it's harder to keep in your long-term memory. And maybe you watch it and you enjoy it for the whole time, but then you forget a lot of things. Like I know when I binged the first season and I went back and watched it a second time, I realized how much I had forgotten, and that was probably by virtue of the fact that we watched it in like 2 days. So maybe that gives you the space to process things, or also, I mean, devil's advocate, maybe that gives too much space and you forgot what happened in the last episode because there's so much fucking going on. But
Yeah.
overall, I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I
Not
feel like
sure
a
if I
little bit of
preferred
that.
it. Bordering
Yeah, okay.
on preferring. It was like, it's interesting. It's different. And
Yeah.
especially like these days, it's that sort of release schedule is harder to come by. Because
Yeah.
there's so many quality shows that are released all at once.
Yeah, we're living in the binging era.
Yeah.
Yemi, so you binged it. What were
Mm.
your, how did you like binging it? I don't know how long it took you to binge it, but like, yeah, how was your experience watching it?
It was good. It was good binging it one episode after another just to get through all of Starlight's scenes and the
It's
lack
really
of
ruined the
Huey's
experience for you, huh?
and the lack of Huey's. I don't know, man. I like what got me onto the show wasn't in season 2. In my opinion, I might be wrong in this, but I was like expecting a little bit more from what they seemed to be doing was being poking fun. Like they're taking a concept about superhero movies and they're like looking at it from a different angle, which was what season 1 was about traversing the narrative of what a superhero is. And then in season 2 there's all these love arcs about like superheroes. It's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like that's not what we want. That's what you didn't give us in season 1. They're falling into writing traps, into plot armor, into like, we have to have the love interest so people keep watching this. It's like, I don't want to watch a soap opera with superheroes, bro. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I kind of,
Not in a way that's like, if you're gonna do it, you can do it in a way that still, pokes fun at it, and which they did with not Stormfront, with Stormfront and Homelander, which is why I enjoyed it, because they traversed it and they warped it. Like, well, this is crazy, this is dark. I like that. Not like, oh my gosh, I love you because I respect you as a superhero and everything like that. Mwah, let's get married. It's like, nah, burn my chest, motherfucker. I could take pain. Yeah, pat. I'm like, oh, they fighting and fucking. This is great. More of that. So that's why I was just like, And again, it's not my fault. Season 1 got me. I was like, this is a great show.
They had love
Great
in
writing.
season 1, though. They introduced Elena, Maeve's love interest in season 1. They had,
Yeah, but it
obviously,
wasn't a main.
Starlight.
They had whole scenes where it's like he's trying to get back at her for, like, we already know Homelander's petty. Why are you driving this point now with Maeve again? I guess to have for her to have a clash with him, but it was just like, can't we like pick something else? Like, why is it all about like their love interests? That was my whole thing. It's like everything was focused on that, and that for me is like, I don't. You could have.
Well, they
done
alluded to
something
that also in season 1, where they were like, if I found out that you loved anyone else, I don't know what I would do. Like they had that moment from season 1. So these things were established. But I'm not gonna obviously. I'm not gonna say you have to enjoy
I guess,
love.
but I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
Whatever. If you want to go with the plot, like, oh yeah, that's his thing with her, and it's like, all right, fine. I didn't enjoy it. It was like, okay, yeah, she's a lesbian. What of it? Like, oh, because I don't know. It just, for me, it didn't move the main plot, which is Vought, closer. But dude, shout out from that dude, the guy, what's his name? He was in Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. Not Better Call Saul. Vault guy. What's his name?
Oh, Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. Shout out to him. He was great. I really liked him. He stole each scene. I kind of wanted him to have a superpower, be a suit, but then that wouldn't make any sense.
Super shrewdness, man. He
You
was
never
super
know.
businessman.
Yeah. We
never know, man.
We never know.
You
But
never know.
that was exciting. But again, like it was good. It was regular. I wasn't like, whoa. And that's just like, it just was like, it was a little lukewarm, put that in the microwave, put it back in the oven, let it bake a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel
Okay.
you on that. It was great to see Giancarlo do his sort of like evil boss thing, which he does oh so well. As we know, we've seen him in many
He's a
shows
great
do
boss,
that.
man.
Yeah, he
same
wasn't
thing.
exactly showing range in that role, but we love
Yeah,
it.
He was
wasn't showing
shrewd
range,
and-
but
yeah.
he's just so classy, and he's just such a good actor that it was just nice to see him once
Yeah,
again.
he had sort of like an interesting cadence to the way he talked. He had this like sharp, quick moments where he would say things very quickly, very, very sharply, and maybe that was like something that was unique and distinct to this character of Mr. Edgar.
Yeah. And also that scene where Homelander was in his office and he didn't back down at all. It wasn't like he wasn't afraid. He's like, this is what we doing. And Homelander was just kind of like a kid, like, all right, well,
Yeah.
blah, 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 and he just kind of
He's like, I'm
stormed
gonna
out.
leave Vought. He's like, all right, not that
Right.
important, dude.
Exactly. You ain't the only one here, man, who's got powers. All right, moving on from there, and let's get into some detail about the arcs of some of the main characters. We're going to start with Huey. So Huey started off as a protagonist. We can dive deeper into if he is still the protagonist. Yemi, what are your thoughts on Huey and his arc in this season?
He didn't. Skip me, man. I already said it. There was no. What was the character in season 1 that he exploded? There was no
translucent.
There was no translucent scene for Huey to show that culminating moment where he became a man or became badass. That was missing. Tell me a scene where he did something badass in season 2.
Well, he precipitated the whole exposure of Count.
No. I'm not talking about
badass.
I'm not talking about espionage shit. I'm talking about action wise, where it's like he has to make a decision where the boy's life is on the line. There was.
I guess he didn't have that rule. I thought the translucent thing that was more of like that was his. What's the word I'm looking for? His initiation or his like sort of that was the moment where he's like, okay, I am fucking in deep shit right now. Like that was him getting in too deep, basically. I thought
maybe I haven't read the comics. Maybe that's who he is empirically. Maybe that's who his character is. So I'm coming from a vantage point where it's just to show, not the actual source material. So it's like I don't know. He just might be a punk. You know what I mean? But for me, I was like, get him off the screen. Billy Joel. And also, like, Starlight is, like, way out of your league, bro. Come on, stop it. This is nonsense.
Wait. Hold on. You don't like Billy Joel?
Hell no, man. Kill that noise. You guys know me. Come on now. Come on. You got. I've never heard any of you two bumping Billy Joel.
Man. I feel
let's
like we've
all
never
relax
met.
and take the pause button.
Yeah.
I love Billy Joel,
hate
man.
Billy Joel. I don't care.
That's my nigga right there, Billy Joel.
Moving out,
Words
man.
Billy Joel has
I'm
never
moving
heard.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think Huey, he had a
That's
decent
funny.
role this time around. I agree that it wasn't nearly as exciting as season 1, wasn't nearly as gripping. I would say to your question, Winston, that he is on paper the protagonist, but he's not. He's kind of like a sort of
He's a
vessel.
bird.
He's a vessel. He's a plain boiled chicken.
He's a boiled egg with no salt, pepper, and
carries, mustard. Yeah, so he's carrying the spices. He's a vessel for the spices. The spices, the main pieces that we really care about in this case are really Homelander and Butcher. Those characters are that's the meat and potatoes, or your fucking Satan and Pharaoh if you're a vegan. But in any case, those are like the main characters. This is like we know that those are like the main squeezes.
Yeah.
So I guess let's dig into these two characters' arcs. I feel like maybe let's start with Butcher, and let's talk about what we felt. We saw him basically, like you said, Winston. We saw him out of the picture. Then he comes back into the picture, and he's trying to do everything he can to get back to Becca, which is trying to get this who turns out to be Kimiko's brother, back to Mallory so he can find Becca. He eventually gets there. He has this whole thing with another point for Huey. This is where Huey comes in. Huey's narrative as the canary, he's finding out why Huey's important to him. He's finding out basically as the role as a canary, making sure that he doesn't go too far, but we're also realizing that he has like this affinity for Huey because of his younger brother Lenny, who had passed away from suicide. So we got that. We found out more about his background and his upbringing, why he's such a violent person beyond Becca. We thought, for some extent, it was just all his drive to get to Becca that put him down this path of violence and brutality. But no, it was really his upbringing with his father. Then we see that whole issue with maybe betraying Becca to get back to her by getting rid of Ryan, Homelander, and Becca's son. And then we see him not do that, and then we get Becca's death. So what do we make of all of this? Do we like it? Do we dislike it? What are your thoughts?
I mean, I think it was necessary for the story to kind of have her die because I don't know. It seemed like it was a weird. I got the storyline at first in the first season, and like now I think it's like, all right, it's time to move on from this. I think the very interesting thing about Billy Butcher that we learned this season was the whole father like arc and like how much of an asshole his father was. And so we sort of got to see more similarities between Billy Butcher and Homelander, right? Both have, well, Homelander has like a fake father, that created him in a lab that, basically he grew up with no real parents and
He had
like,
a
which
team
is
of
why,
surrogate lab fathers.
right, exactly, which is why part of the reason why he's the asshole he is now. And
Yeah.
Butcher, was sort of like the same thing, but at the same time, he's, I guess, fighting for good. It's a interesting scale because, right, like what is he? I guess he is the main protagonist, but it's like, he'll do what he has to do, to get shit done. So he'll stomp somebody out. He doesn't give a fuck. So,
Yeah. In the end, he did not stomp out Ryan though, which he apparently
That's
does
true.
in the comics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, I thought that was dope in the last episode when he let Ryan go and decided to walk away. But I think he's going to end up probably working closer with the government. But yeah,
I
what do you
feel like
think?
I'm gonna like the comic better than the show.
It's possible. But what
I
did you
think
make of the choices they made with Butcher and
Butcher
Becca's
was
death?
dope.
It's one less love story, Yemi. That should make you happy.
Well, Becca was bad, so I was just like, damn, man, why you take the baddest chick out, man? Let him. You left Starlight and you took Becca. I feel like Becca was more. Listen, I feel like Becca could have accomplished so much more. You know what I mean? Than Starlight. Oh my gosh, Jesus Christ, take my eyes out. Becca.
But could Butcher still exist with Becca?
That was one story that made sense because that was his impetus for all of season one. So all the heartstrings and I love you, and she's like, oh my gosh, you love me, made sense. They make love in a car or wherever in a bush. The sun it confronts Butcher with his bias or his racism prejudice against Soups, and that being his wife's son, and also being the personification of everything he hates because it's a part of Homelander. That's deep. That's deep stuff. Give me that. That makes sense. He has a dark past. Him having that scene where he just got into a fight to feel something after Becca. After I think it was like after Becca died. I'm not sure if it was before or after Becca.
Not much
died.
happened after Becca died. That was basically the end.
No. It was before, but something happened where he was just upset and he just went to the bar and got into a fight.
That's when he broke into the compound and he wanted to bring Becca back with him, and then she wouldn't come back with him. So he left without her.
Was that CBGBs, by the way?
It
looked like it. I don't know if it was.
It just shows. It just shows. Yeah. It's there's more to be explored in Billy the Butcher, and I'm glad they went into his past of why he's so violent and he has anger issues.
Yeah. And I think they really needed something more other than Becca to drive him. And obviously they set that up with his background. And now his continued rage will make sense now that Becca is gone. But he's also still going to have, obviously, the actual chip on his shoulder for her death. He's absolutely going to be blaming Homelander for that. And, this is something that we can really look forward to, I think. Yeah. I would not want to see a Billy the Butcher that was constantly with Becca. That would be really sappy for me. I need Butcher butching. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think we'll get more of
slamming faces into bathroom sinks. That kind of.
I think we'll get more of that in season 3. So let's move on to the man, Homelander, aka MAGA Superman. Where did y'all? Yeah, let's start with. I guess we'll start with Yemi, man. What do you think about Homelander, bro?
He wants to be loved by people, and we saw a glimpse of that. We saw a glimpse of that with his son and with Stormfront. And I was like, wow, they're actually trying to paint this megalomaniac as a person or someone who has actual feelings. But he's also unhinged, and there was many scenes where he had the thought of just killing everybody at the protest, and the anti when he got leaked with the when they leaked his not saving the people on that flight, and also that weird end scene where he's just like beating his meat, like kind of like Superman or Batman style on like a gargoyle on a building. He's like, I can do what I want. I can do what I want. It's like, well, you are doing what you want, bro, but it's gross. It's gross what you're doing.
Doesn't mean you should be doing that.
Yeah, so I think his heroic flaw is very mental. It's just, and like the whole reason why he didn't kill everybody in the end is because of his image. I can buy that because they've built him up to be that way. Now, if all of a sudden he didn't do it or he did do it, you know what I mean? Like if he did do it anyway, I think that would, I mean, obviously end the show. But it's good that they keep. It just made sense with his character, and that's what I'm like. All right, this makes sense. They keep building on Homelander's weakness, you know, because it's not weapons. It has to be something psychological.
Yeah, there's no actual kryptonite for him.
No, he's unstoppable. He's. I mean, Superman is I'm not gonna get into
he
that.
at least
but,
has
yeah.
kryptonite. You know what I mean? It at least can make him weak.
Well, also like Doomsday beat him. You know, like it's
Yeah.
it's like Superman can get fucked up, but it's just like we're not getting into that. But it's just like it's good. Love the Stormfront thing. That made sense. They're both not racist per se, but definitely prejudiced against certain. Like he's prejudiced against regular people. She's prejudiced against everybody, or racist against everybody.
White is right.
She a straight Nazi.
She a straight Nazi.
Yeah, she's not. She Nazi. She Nazi.
Yeah. So I definitely dug Homelander's vibe, and then it was obviously they were leaning more on those two, and just the acting, those two, they were just great. They were just like hitting their beats. I was like, yes, give me some of this. You know?
Yeah, they had good chemistry for sure.
Yeah.
Danny, what are your thoughts on Homelander?
Can we just all agree, like maybe we don't agree on that this is like the best show on TV right now, but can we agree that Homelander is the best villain on TV right now? Possibly one of the best superhero villains.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. He plays. Yeah, he's good at what he does. He's good at having a charming facade as a superhero, but also being unhinged, and he could just kill everybody right now.
Yeah, he's charming.
Definitely. I'll give you that.
The calmness and coolness with which he is so cruel is just like it's horrifying, but it makes for amazing TV. There's that whole scene, I think in the first episode, I want to say, where they had that Daredevil character, the blind superhero that was a potential fit for a new member for the Seven, and he's just being so cool and calm with him. He's like, "Oh, okay, good to meet you. Good to meet you." He's like, "Hey, just quick question. What would happen if I did boom?" And he just like, I don't know if he actually dies. I assume he does, but in any case, he lost a lot of blood from his ears and was made deaf. So scenes like that, getting deeper, and this is what the show did so well, is digging into the character's psyche. So we really dug into Homelander's psyche, and like you said, his only kryptonite, the only thing standing between the planet Earth, its people, and a laser shot to fucking 7 billion people is Homelander's ego, is his desire to be loved, which is just so interesting as a motivation for a villain. If it is even somewhat simplistic, it's brilliant in his simplicity. I loved watching him try to be a dad, really failing at it, like really trying to be that like Leave It to Beaver TV sitcom style dad, like, "I love you, son," and the son was just like so awkward, really confused at first.
I'm tired.
And he's like, "I'm tired." He's like, "No, you say
No, you're not.
say you love me back. Say you love me back. Say it
No,
back."
you're not tired. I can't fly. Yes, you can.
Fly off this house.
Yeah. But in any case, like those moments where he's like,
What
say
are
you
you
love
doing?
me back," and he's
He's
like,
a regular boy.
"Okay."
He's not regular. He's like me.
But yeah, those moments where he's like, "This is nice," where he's trying to be a family man and it's just not working, but it's working.
I love
for
how
him.
they just straight up took him. I was like, just take him.
Well, that's basically what he ends up doing. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, it was interesting to see how that played out and to actually see for a while there, Ryan starting to buy into him. You can see like there is a good facet in the way that a broken clock is right twice a day doesn't mean that he deserves sympathy or anything like that. But there is a good facet to his personality in that he is trying. I think he genuinely cares about Ryan, you know?
Yeah,
He
that's
genuinely
true.
does want him to not have an upbringing
His
like
loins.
he did. Which is not necessarily like selfish. But yeah, best villain on TV, and the moments where he's really unhinged and he's really angry and he's really manipulative. That's where this show is flying on all cylinders. And yeah, the more that we can have Anthony Starr on camera as Homelander, the happier man that I will be.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why he's the best villain on TV is because I can't look at the guy and not see Donald Trump. I can't. They're one and the same at this point. It seems like they both had sort of similar upbringings, other than Donald Trump doesn't have superpowers, even though he thinks he does.
Well, I guess Homelander at least is trying to keep it under wraps. Trump is like, no, I'm a fucking horrible person. Like,
right. He's trying to keep it on the wraps. One thing that really gave us interesting insight into his psyche was when he had that when he had Madeline come back. He had like a cabin.
Oh, with Doppelganger, yeah.
With Doppelganger would
that was
be
so freaky.
That was weird because first I saw her and I was
Turn
like,
back.
What? It was so weird.
Turn back.
Yeah. I was like, what is going on? And I'm like, something is amiss.
He was sucking on that. He's sucking on the breasts.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden when he changed back into a doppelganger, I was like, oh shit, that's what was going on. I was like, all right, this is, and then doppelganger turns into him, Homelander.
He's
and
like,
then,
is this what you like? Do
like,
you
"Kinda."
like this?
Of course, he could get him off. He can get his own self off or whatever.
I wonder if someone could doppelgang me and be like, "Is this what you like?" I'd be like, "Yeah." I don't know. Would you ever think about stuff like that? It's like if
Fucking yourself?
fucking yourself. Like,
That is
do you ever
weird.
think about stupid shit like that? Like,
I mean, I did after watching.
you know what?
that scene,
I would wrestle myself to see. This is getting weird. I was like, I would see if I can rape myself. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
Whoa,
that's,
whoa.
that's weird.
Just
That's
to
a weird
see
thing.
if you could. Just to see if you could.
Like, would he
Whoa.
try? Like, would I try to manhandle me? And I'm like, nah, I'm stronger. It's a weird thought. I'm just saying.
And then you'd end up getting raped by yourself?
I mean, we'd both be strong. Like, it's kind of like a whole. You've watched anime.
Who
where
wants
it's
it
like
more? Just
Or
basically.
maybe I'd be a power bottom. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just saying that was a weird. That was a
Let's take it-
weird. A weird
take it
scene, but it was dope. Yeah.
make
And
it
again,
interesting.
into Homelander psyche and some
Yeah.
insight into yours as well, Yemi.
yeah,
Yes,
man.
exactly.
Think about it, listener. Like, if you could pay someone to turn into you, would you have sex with yourself? That's a deep question. I don't know.
How
Let us
much do
know
you
in the
love
chat.
yourself?
Maybe it's the best sex you'd ever have because it's you and you know what you like.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
Wow.
I don't
All right.
find myself very attractive though, and
Okay.
I don't have many interest in my own parts. Anyway, we said no time for
Think
Beyond the
about
Binge
it.
right now. This is getting a little weird.
Yeah, so let's
Beyond the
move
binge,
on.
baby. It's beyond the binge, baby. Beyond
Let's
the
move
binge.
Beyond the binge moment.
Beyond the binge.
Would you
Beyond
fuck
the
yourself?
breast milk. Would you
Let's
fuck
move-
yourself?
Yeah. I mean,
He
just quick
does
note, one
love-
more note about Homelander. He's not just obsessed about breast milk. It's all types of milk.
Oh, that's right.
It is?
Oh
Yeah,
he
there was
likes-
he had the milk doppelganger, as Madeline Stillwell always had a glass of milk at the ready for his arrival.
Of course,
Weird
gotta have
stuff,
that milk,
man.
man. Need that
One of his
calcium,
2%.
some
He
vitamins.
is not lactose intolerant. He's very lactose tolerant.
Yep.
He's like, what is that, lactose?
And I wonder if they did that on purpose because that's sort of like a white power thing, being able to like drink milk and not be lactose intolerant. Do you remember there were viral videos that went on a while ago of white people chugging milk to show their superiority? It's like I could drink this whole thing of milk and nothing's gonna happen to me. I'm not gonna get any gas or bloating. And it's like, what? I feel like that's sort of.
I don't
like
know what part of the
that's
internet
subtle.
you dived
Dude,
into.
dude. I will send you the videos later.
Winston, I want to see your YouTube history. I want to see what Winston watches, man. What? I watch white supremacists drink
Dude,
milk all day,
I
and I am.
swear, this was a thing. This was a thing. It was on Twitter and I will send you videos.
Listen,
later.
if you give me regular milk, do not stand next to me. It's your own fault. Right.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
I guess my half whiteness makes me pretty decent with milk. I don't think I
Yeah.
have any issues. I mean, I'm a
D-boy be drinking regular milk, people. I've been to his fridge. I'm like, you ain't got no oat milk, almond, cashew, rice,
nothing, man. Just regular
lactate. You're gonna drink this whole milk, Carolyn.
ass.
All right, let's move on to Stormfront. Stormfront, of course, is the new character from this
Yes.
season, and she is something else. Danny, do you want to speak on Stormfront's arc?
How do you say yes in German? Ja. There we go.
Ja, each
They
That's right, you got-
knocked it out of the park with this character. Oh boy, as a sub boss. Oh my god. So the way they introduced her was, I loved this character immediately. for the wrong reasons. I thought she was going to be a cool, good, sort of outspoken woman that makes people in Vought more down to earth. I thought maybe she would end up teaming up with Starlight to take down Vought for their corporate greed. And then we got some hints to the contrary in episode 3. It was I had a really weird reaction. Like I was kind of mad at the show at first. I was like, why the fuck is she in the projects like active? Like, why are there only black people in these projects getting killed? Like, they just decided that they wanted off some black like fucking extras or something like that. And so I was a little triggered then. But then after she choked out Kimiko's brother and was like, "You yellow bastard," I was like, huh, something's going on here. And then obviously we came to find out she was full on Nazi and not a big fan of black people or any people that are not white.
Of the
And
pure race.
Was that?
Of the pure race.
Of the pure race, yes. So yeah, she was a lover, and she was the wife of Friedrich Vought. And that was really cool, the way they unraveled who she was when she was Lady Liberty or whatever her name was when she was that superhero, and her whole reveal of her psyche and her madness around white supremacy I thought was dope. I really liked how we got those MAGA vibes, how you can use PR spin to push your narrative. Like she's using dog whistles, things of that nature. She's not coming out and being like, you know, the Donald Trump method of being like, they're rapists, that kind of a thing.
Come from
but that was really
shithole companies, shithole countries. Remember that?
Was that?
Oh, I remember.
Oh yeah, shithole countries. Yeah. She
Shithole
wasn't saying
countries.
that quiet part out loud, so I like the way they used that as a means of as a mirror for us in the U.S. for how our government can spin things. I didn't think it was like too woke or woke signaling, and
No, it was the right amount of
it was
woke.
definitely they're already making commentary on the corporate world, which is an anti-right, very liberal sort of sentiment. So, you know, they're already left-leaning and they're already political. So that wasn't a surprise or bad for me. I liked how her story ended up. Obviously, we talked about the love scenes. Yemi spoke about those. Those were amazing. And I like how they brought it all around with her being the impetus for Ryan to use his eye lasers and end up accidentally killing Becca. Just so well done. And she was burnt to a little crisp, and she was reduced to speaking German. I don't know if you guys looked it up, but actually it turns out she was basically having an old memory with her and Friedrich. She was like something along the lines of like, remember,
We didn't see
were,
her
like,
die
sitting-
though. Did we see her die?
We didn't see her die, but
We just saw her. She just saw her like kind of speaking German. I'm just saying, like we did not see her die.
Yeah.
Just
So that was going to be my next question, but like
sorry.
she was down speaking German, and apparently what she was saying was something to the effect of like, "Oh, do you remember we were sitting under an apple tree, and like her daughter was there." That was another interesting motivation that we found out about midway through the season, is that she had this daughter that passed away from old age. Just really, really interesting, really, really fascinating, and another villain very well done. And like Yemi was hinting, we don't know if she's dead, so I do expect her to make a return. Maybe as like some sort of crazy fucking cyber zombie type of thing, basically like Darth Vader. She got burnt to a crisp, very much like Darth Vader. So maybe we'll see her in a 6-foot black suit and cape.
Yeah. I really liked. I hated her character, but in a good way. Like I despised her character, probably because she was a Nazi, and also that scene where she like viciously beat the shit and murdered that black. I guess it was a black like male in his 20s. Back. It was like it takes place like back in the day. So this is when she was Liberty, and he was left dead on the hood of the car. First of all, it was super graphic. I was like, ugh. Turned away from the TV. I was like, it was gross, you know. But I guess I'm supposed to hate her.
Take there, by the way, Winston, saying that we here at Binge Society do not like Nazis, and so let the record reflect that we do not like Nazis here at Binge Society.
Yes,
just to get that out there.
I agree with that. So she was a great addition to this season. She really made this season interesting. She was the one, you know. So kudos to her. Good performance, and I'm sure she'll be back in some form or another as the seasons go on. Yemi, what were your thoughts on Stormfront?
Aya Cash is a great actress. She has comedic timing. She super media savvy. Like I said, she was believable as someone who would be a superhero now. and the way she handled stuff was great. I think it was a good addition to season 2 to having this just not side character, but like this, the main story being her, like having someone be the face of this huge company, but also like a bigoted, not so bigoted, but like not so bigoted, not so closeted bigot, So there was definitely an allegory for her. Well, it's not closeted that our president is a bigot, but just having that allegory as a superhero can be bigoted was interesting to see, and I've never really seen it done and executed the way they had it done. So she was a cool character, and she had some funny moments just as far as her. I don't know if they were improv scenes or just the way she would placate Homelander when he would like get crazy, and also just she would, just throw shade to Starlight, which was deserved. She deserved all the shade. So it was interesting. She definitely kept my attention, and I wish, I don't know, maybe this is an anime in me, but there's something about the virtual effects or it's like, can we see some manipulation of the power? It just seems like there's a lot of just like, it's not, maybe I watch too much other sci-fi stuff, but it just seems very laser electricity fly.
Well, they're sure
Super
to get a
strength.
bigger budget for next season.
You know what I mean? And there's not a lot of manipulation of the thing, throwing it
Yeah.
or knocking it back. I want to see
Or
some
using
maybe
it in
it's-
different ways. Like,
Yeah, it's just
I'm
like
going to use a lightning spear or something.
Yeah, or like grabbing it from the sky and like shooting it down, causing a fire. It's just a lot of like, get away, get away, get away. It's like, I don't know why she's Jamaican now.
Emperor Palpatine.
Yeah, and it's like,
Oh, just while I'm thinking of it,
Starlight.
I love
There's a lot of that.
I love when she was trying to fill Ryan's head with like white supremacy ideas, and like how Homelander was like clearly not in agreement with her, but like was fine with it. She was like, all these people they're trying to wipe us out, Ryan. And he's kind of like,
Yo, when she said white genocide, I was like, ha!
yeah. And Homelander's just like kind of like, huh. Anyway,
He's like,
she's at this.
my current girlfriend is a little heavy-handed.
Yeah. She's a crazy bitch, but she fucks so good that he's on top of it. That's kind of what we had going on.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So from there, let's move on. So obviously, there's a lot of characters in this show, and we got to see the growth of some characters. And so I wanted to take this time to see if you guys have any characters that we haven't like talked about in detail that you would like to give some thoughts on their arc and how they've sort of changed from season 1 to season 2. Danny, you want to take it away?
Yeah, I was kind of biting my tongue on this when Yemi, you mentioned this, because I disagree with you on this, is the whole Maeve arc. I actually thought that was brilliantly well done. We really saw a decent amount of development. Well, not development per se, but we saw her go through some things, and we learned some things. We learned why she was kind of a fuckboy to Elena in the first place, which was that she didn't want her to die, which makes a lot of sense. And I really did enjoy Homelander fucking with her, because we got more of Homelander's cruelty in a different variety and brand. So that was really interesting to see, I thought. And then she really came through in the clutch a few times, which was great. She came through with the Almond Joy. But just as a quick moment, like they had a lot of Chekhov's shotguns in this show. Who knew that Almond Joy would have been one of them? There was that moment where Starlight was getting that Almond Joy from the vending machine, but just before she and Huey fucked. Who knew that would come up again? And who knew that Black Noir would have a weakness to that? And then she came through in the clutch a couple of more times. She was there for the Girls Get It Done fight, and then she was there to stop Homelander from killing our
Must have walked.
butcher. Was that?
How did she get there? That was something I was like, all right.
She's a superhero. She's
She
fucking-
doesn't fly.
Yeah, but we don't know how far away that was.
She jogged there. All right, I'm just.
She can run, man. She can sprint. I imagine her fucking mile has got to be like under a minute.
Yemi, you have any comments on any other characters on their arc?
Maeve, she besides her killing Black Noir with a chokehold, that was totally a sucker punch, and he didn't see it coming. So I was like, this is fucked up. That wasn't even a fair fight. I just want to put that out there. It's like, oh, okay, and then just shoved an Almond Joy, and I was like, what is all right?
It's hilarious.
To save Starlight, let her die,
Oh my
or at least be heavily maimed, like heavily, like You know, because I feel like she should have sacrificed. I don't know. I'm Captain
My man
Curmudgeon
hates
today.
Starlight.
Starlight, like she was alright, man. And also, what's her power?
What's Maeve's power?
She's just strong.
She's strong and
She's like
brave
the-
and
yeah, she's like
Maeve.
the Wonder
I
Woman.
know, but Wonder Woman is dope. I don't know, man. Like, have a weapon, a broadsword, nothing, no whip, no
Rope or
scythe.
invisible jet.
No, it's
Yeah,
just like she just looks like her, and I'm like, I don't. And this is just a problem I have with the show. What are their powers, bro? And I guess this is maybe budget wise, they don't have enough to like do all the virtual. The effects are good. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like I want a little bit more nerdiness. You know, I've been in an anime bubble, so it's just like I don't know, a little more hand to hand combat.
It's not so much more. It's not. So much
It's not about the
action.
action. It's not about the action, and I think I'm noticing that in season 2 they have these sequences. They have these sequences, and it's good. It's good, you know. But Maeve, I didn't really care for her arc. Black Noir, I love that we saw more of him. And the whole thing between him and the tech was just funny. How he's just writing stuff down. Like she's like, you want me to do that? It's it's just funny. You know, like, oh, okay, this is a funny situation. This is,
and it was really intense with what was it at Butcher's aunt's place.
Oh yeah, that was
a great moment.
I feel like I kind of agree with Winston. Somebody has to either get very hurt for me to care more about season 3. We should start talking about predictions. We don't have that much time left. Or like maimed, like, oh my gosh, this person's like out of commission for a while. Do you know what I mean? There has to be something that just there's an impetus of me caring more about. And everyone for the most part, besides Becca, was a non-factor. Like, okay, she kind of had to go. But also like, okay, Black Noir's dead. We have A-Train back in the mix. I kind of liked A-Train's. Actually, that whole side story was like that.
The Church of the Collective. Can we talk about that arc for a little bit? Because there have been some complaints on the internet about whether it was necessary, like they didn't feel like it really went anywhere, that maybe it was just an excuse to keep these characters in the show.
It didn't go anywhere, bro. They could have cut all that stuff out and added more action scenes or more crazy fuck scenes between Stormfront and Homelander.
You didn't find it fun to see the Deep struggle and have Eagle the Archer? We had that moment with Patton Oswalt as the voice of the Deep's gills.
Oh, that's right.
Funny moment.
Filler.
That was funny.
Filler
vibes for you?
Filler.
I liked it. I thought it was worth including.
Filler.
Yeah. No, I thought it was all right. It has to go somewhere.
They could have went somewhere. Like I would have liked to see A-Train become, you know, maybe a junkie or something. Like he's just trying to get back in, and Deep is trying to get. Why do you have two characters trying to do the same thing? Have one do one thing and have one grow.
Yeah,
that's just me. That's just me.
I could dig that. I could dig that. But I'm glad we had that arc. And then
no, I like them. They added levity to certain situations, but it was like ha. You know.
Yeah, the Collective was kind of like that Scientology church presence.
Yeah.
And I guess it ended up having a somewhat pivotal narrative role in getting the dirt on Stormfront out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's
and
move
the
on.
reveal, the big reveal. Can we talk about?
Yes, let's talk about the big reveal. Victoria Newman. She is sort of like an AOC type character.
Very AOC.
Yes, we found it at the end that she has superpowers, and she had been the one blowing people's heads up.
Head Popper McGee.
So did that surprise you guys? Also, do you like her as a character? Where do you see her going?
Popping people's temples like a
thing you pop.
Like a popper. I don't know. I couldn't finish that alliteration.
Dan, do you have any expectations for season 3 for her?
Well, yeah, I certainly do. I mean, number one, I was absolutely stunned by this. I did not see it coming, but like, it's really cool. And this is what's another layer to this season, and what makes it enjoyable is you can go back and watch it again, and you can see the hints that they're dropping. Like when Raynor's head first gets popped and they're running away in the car, the boys, and they're like, do we know any soups that has this power? And then Frenchie's like, nobody. And then they cut to her. And then you can go back and watch the second to last episode where they're in that hearing where all the heads are exploding. And you can see she's actually making eye contact with all the people whose heads are exploding while she's simultaneously feigning horror. And they're trying to shoo her out of there, to usher her out of there. So that's really cool. Really well done for that. And then for a while I was like, wait, are they not going to explore this? When are they going to bring this back? Because they had the head explosion in episode 1. Didn't really come up again until episode 7. And then they kind of somewhat put that on the back burner in episode 8. I was like, and after everything that happened with Butcher and Ryan, etc., I was like, wait, we don't have much time left. What's going to happen with the head popping? And then we got a final pop and a final reveal that AOC, oh my God, this is like a conservative's wet dream here, is to have an AOC be an actual like terrorist, be in bed, I suppose, with soup terrorists. I wonder what her motives are. I wonder if she's aligned with Mr. Edgar. It seems like she was doing the bidding of Vought or doing things that benefit Vought. So what is the link? What's going to happen? I wonder how in-depth they're going to use her in season 3. I guess they will, since Huey is linked up with her and working for her.
Yeah. No, that'll be interesting.
So that'll be definitely something that's interesting to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm most excited for that arc for season 3 to see what happens to her. Yemi, any thoughts on Victoria?
She was dope, but predictions. I'm gonna go into it. She was dope. That was great. That's good. I want to know where her intentions are. Can we get a time skip? Can we get a time skip? God, we need a time skip in this.
I think that could happen. I think that could happen.
I want to see Ryan is the name of the son.
Yes.
I want to see Ryan as a teen with powers. If he's not a teen with powers, I'm telling you, season 3 is going to be a dud.
I'm interested
Because
in
everything is settled, kind of. So it's like, let's have a time skip, bro. Let Starlight grow as a superhero. Let Ryan grow as a teen. Maybe Homelander's still in the mix. Maybe some new characters. And then another antagonist. Maybe it's not Homelander. Maybe it's this bigger, someone stronger, or like an actual
Vicky.
threat.
Well,
or Vicky,
might be stronger than
no,
Homelander.
Cindy.
Or Cindy as well. Cindy will be in there.
Cindy's
We got the
alive.
imploder and the exploder.
Yeah, and she has a very strong telekinetic power, like where she could just literally make you explode. So that is kind of the same power that Newman has. So I was really excited for her, and then she didn't die. I was like, thank God. She goes on the road. So I like that they're leaving certain things open-ended, but we need a time skip, in my opinion, for me to be interested, because I'm like, I really want to see what they do with Ryan's son. Is he going to be against Soups? Is he going to be for Soups? Is he going to have this internal intrinsic battle where he's like, sometimes he's for both or he doesn't know?
Yeah.
You know, are we going to see
involved at all? He might not be involved at all because, I mean,
that wouldn't make any sense if he's not involved.
Well, I mean, if they don't do a time skip and it's like, all right, let's put him on the back burner for a while. And I'm interested in what they might do with him, because whatever they choose to do with Ryan, it will not be tightly based in the source material. That will be a departure from the source material. So.
A man can dream. That's my predictions. Yeah. We have some type of time skip. We get Cindy back in the mix. We have some new characters, a breath of fresh air.
Well, there's definitely new characters coming for sure. We know Soldier Boy is a big character who will be on next season.
Yeah, I thought that Homelander was supposed to kind of be Captain America and Superman in one, but I guess they have an actual Captain America.
Or someone
Soldier Boy up in it.
Or someone. I would love to see someone on the same power scale level as Homelander.
I think Soldier Boy might be that guy. I'm not 100% sure.
Someone who can go toe-to-toe with Homelander.
Well, do you think Vicky Newman, do you think she could pop Homelander's brains?
I don't know. I don't know. That's just saying I want to know what her intentions are, because why wouldn't she? I think she needs to use him, obviously, like to motivate her fan base, to motivate the left or whatever, you know.
Yeah,
so, like you see, you know, so she needs him to be
evil
that
radical
guy.
left man. What Trump has been warning us about.
So I definitely want to see someone go toe to toe with Homelander, Ryan, time skip, Cindy back in the mix, and I don't know, Huey, man, like something. Take a boxing class, do some push-ups.
I'm sure they'll have a good fitness program in AOC's for AOC's volunteers there.
Yeah. All right. So let's wrap up. So here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to give our ratings on a scale of 1 to 4 cans of Fresca. And then we'll also say which season we preferred at the end as well. So let's start with Yemi first. Yemi, what is your rating for this season?
I give this 2.5 cans of Fresca.
Is the half can still carbonated or flat?
That shit is flat as fuck, bro.
And warm.
It's flat. It's been left out in the sun on the streets of Bushwick.
So that shit is rough.
It's rough. But the other 2 cans are in my fridge. But that can. Might as well not be a can, man. You understand?
Yeah.
Mm.
So you preferred season 1 for sure.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay. How about you, Danny?
I would give this 3.5 cans of the Fresca. In that half can is still chilled. It's been sitting in a koozie in a fridge, and it's only been in there for like half an hour. So it's well carbonated. It's still good Fresca for sure. Ultimately, it's like by a hair on a nose is season 1 in my mind ahead of season 2. I think that the novelty and the initial portion of season 1, the first few episodes of season 1 versus the first few episodes of season 2, I think that puts it ahead. And it's only by virtue of novelty. So it's really hard for a season 2 to measure up to something that was so good in season 1 for those reasons. So just barely season 1 is my fave.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, season 1, the first few episodes are definitely better than first few episodes in season 2, in my opinion. I'll give this 3 cans of Fresca, slightly I'll say season 2 is better just because of certain storylines. I really like the arc of where Victoria could possibly go. And I also like the addition of Stormfront. I think she really brought something interesting and bringing the racism plot into this. So yeah, that's what I would say. And yeah, that is it. That is our time. That is our review. If you want to send us a message, hit us up at bingesocietypodcast@gmail.com. Hit us up on IG at Binge Society. You can also find us on TikTok and Twitter at Binge Society Pod. And of course, we do have a Patreon page. So if you would like to help us out, if you'd like to donate to us, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Binge Society. There are 2 tiers. We appreciate all the Patreons that we have, and we will continue to put out good content for y'all every single week.
Big facts.
That's right. So
give us money, man. It's good. It's easy. And if you're a Buddhist, there's that saying you have to empty the vessel to prepare it to receive. So empty your pockets, please. To me. It'll be good for you.
There you go. And as always, you can find me, Winston Brewington, at Radio Win on Instagram.
You can find me also on Instagram under my name, Danny Bronner. And you can find me on Twitter, LacesOutDan485. Yes, that is an Ace Ventura reference.
You can find me at Yemi Comedy on Instagram.
Indeed. All right, y'all. So that was it. That was our review. Check us out.
That was a lot.
It was a lot. We did a lot. That was in-depth detail for you, for the listener.
Yes,
so
but the conversation doesn't end here, guys. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on the socials. The power is in your hands.
Facts. All right, y'all. We'll be back next week. Stay locked. Stay safe. Hand sanitizer. Wash your hands. Wear a mask. Vote. Vote.